nervous?
No.
Where's your answer?
Dennis Beckham, let the ball on! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Oh!
Oh, no! Oh, yes! He missed it.
Welcome to the Suffering from Joy podcast. My name is Devin. We've got an extra special treat. We're going to learn a little bit about some lower league football, running a club, buying and selling a club, things that are, maybe not necessarily on everybody's radar, but some extra special fare. We'll get to some World Cup stuff later, probably talk about the Flo Balogun stuff, maybe hit on some Danny Pereira in a little bit. We'll see how far we get, but the usual panel I'll introduce first, and then we'll talk to our extra special guest. So, Scott, how are you now?
Good, and you?
Not too bad. Seth, are you joining us from actually your house today?
Yeah, I actually am at home, and it's like almost Austin level warm in Chicago today, which is weird.
Oh yeah,
it's like in the 90s. Like it does. These things do happen up here.
Yeah, every now and then. I've been there in like August. It's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brad, how are you?
Well, I feel good after you guys rescinded my red card to allow me back on the podcast this week. So.
Well, we didn't rescind it; we suspended it.
Sorry, excuse me.
We will give you your our Article 27 of the Suffering for Joy podcast review. Will be scheduled for July 4th, 2027.
Yes, you had a very good lawyer in Seth getting you back on. Also joining us today, our extra special guest, co-owner now of Dorking Wanderers Football Club, Frank. Frank, how you doing?
Very good. Very good. Enjoyed. That was quick. That was not even a minute in, and we had our first red card commentary. So I love it.
Yeah,
but all good.
You can keep up.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Frank may not be joined by Deborah later. We'll see. But Frank, you are now, like I said, co-owner of Dorking Wanderers. So what brought you to buy a football club?
Yeah, great question. Right, it wasn't So I guess what brought me in is when I want to actually make money and stuff. I do insurance, and but now I've been doing that for a long time. Had a couple of exits, and now you start looking. You get a little older, kids are gone, so I'm like, all right, what do we want to do? I don't want to do another startup. I don't want to say the word stop loss or insurance again for a while. So we're like, what do we love is sports. Love football, soccer, or what you want to call it, but love all sports, all things sports. But what would be cooler than sports ownership? And I got to be honest, I didn't think it was possible. But then you start seeing some of these stories. It was obviously the Wrexham story. Although I don't think any of us have the cash flow that Ryan Reynolds is running through these days with his career and his 79 sponsorships. But when I heard of what he bought it for, and some other people that were buying clubs in England and in Scotland and stuff, you're like, oh wow, this is kind of almost a successful person's thing, not just a billionaire's game over there. And that was one thing that brought me over there. In the U.S., unfortunately, sports is definitely colleges are what feeds our sports here. So it's tough to get into sports ownership because you either have to own a college, which you can't, or you got to own one of the professional teams, which is really undoable for most people. So that kind of brought me to that level. And I got to be honest, football in England is, it is next level. I'll give it to those guys. The fandom they have at all different levels and stuff. And it's, it's church for them. So that's kind of what brought me to start looking and kind of, sending out random emails. I didn't realize brokers do this too. Like they sell real estate, they sell soccer teams, and all different types of cricket teams, rugby teams, whatever. I've seen it all. Pickleball has some teams for sale, but so I started sending out a couple of emails out, and one of them was Dorking because they just came up. Obviously, when you do a search of football clubs and this and that, they came up. Read the story, and it was pretty cool. So I reached out, and they got right back to me, and we kind of hit it off pretty quickly. But it wasn't one of those things that they were looking to sell at the time, or we kind of talked about. So it's just more of a, hey, come on in and do more like what some people have done, have bought some shares into the club and are fans of the club and stuff like that. So I did that. We talked, but I told them I was going to take a look at some other clubs out there. And I did, looked at a bunch of different clubs out in England. And I used them as kind of the sounding board for it. I'd be like, hey, I'm kind of thinking about this club. What do you think about them? What do you know about them? And that kind of stuff. And always always good and honest advice, uh, and selfishly give him, said, hey, listen, if you buy a club there, I know a great coach that you could get for that club. And, he's local and he's a great guy. I always had trouble coaching against this guy. So I thought, which I thought was kind of wild because I looked at a few clubs in his division, in Mark's division. And here he is giving me a coach the battle. So very super nice guy from that perspective. And in a couple of these, there were some weird things that went on. And I'm like, God, this doesn't sound normal. So I'd call him, and man, within a minute, he'd call me back, say, you know what, that's rubbish, or that guy's a wanker. Uh, Probably used a lot of other words. If you've seen his colorful language, so so we hit it off well, and it just these teams did not hit. And I got to be honest with you, part of it too is when you get into these clubs. I'm thinking to myself, I saw the Wrexham documentary. Holy shit, I just put up a little bit of money. I own a club. Hey, go get them. And that's it. It's easy. And I just sit back and we win, we lose, we cry, whatever. We draw, whatever. No, man, it's such a heavy lift, these teams. There's so much to it. Because you got so many volunteers and so many events that happen, and then player signings and player leavings and physio and merchandise and ticketing, and it's a rivalry game, so now you got to make sure you have security there. And oh man, so it was a lot to manage. So I was like, holy shit, this is more full time than my full time job. So I kind of shied away from a couple things, and my wife is like, "What are you getting us into? We're about to retire, and now this is going to be like a new job." So as we went through some of that, I kind of talked to Mark, and Mark's like, "Listen, mate, if you want something, a little easier, you can be like a grandparent with this. You can enjoy it, but when you need to leave, you leave. This won't be a full time role for you, So maybe we can do something together." And it was kind of talking about it, and it just started coming to fruition. And part of you want it to be fun. That's a fun group of guys. A lot of good people. I won't bash some of these teams. A lot of good people in the business, but definitely a few characters. So there's a couple of teams in there that I'm like, oh my God, I got to deal with this guy every day. Like, there's no way. It's because now all of a sudden you're like family. You know how that is. Sometimes there's certain cousins or uncles you can't get rid of. So now I'm like, man, now I'm going to be dealing with these guys every day. So with these guys, I love them. It's a fun group. It's a great story to get behind. So I'm like, okay, this would be a lot of fun. Uh, and my wife
Yeah,
kept,
no,
it was one thing. My wife kept saying she's very instinctual, and every time she'd be like, "Why don't you just buy Dorking?" But I'm like, "Well, I can't just buy it, but we can probably do something with them on them." She loved them. They got on well with her as well, which is important for anybody married in the room. You're gonna know if she's behind it, it's a hell of a lot better to do, a lot easier to get over there. So
no.
yeah, so that's kind of
Sorry, as with most things, three of the four of us are married.
yeah.
Uh, we kind of have a joke that like only three of the four of us can ever do anything. You mentioned characters, and like Mark's obviously a character. We had him on the podcast last year, so I'm kind
Yeah.
of curious why, like, what initially drew you to Dorking in the sense of like them being good people you wanted to work with, and also like going through this process of figuring out where you wanted to get your foot into. Like, it sounded like you had a lot of conversations with them just about like what to do to get involved that kind of turned into getting you involved there.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of curious how, like, was that relationship built because you wanted to get in there, or were they just a good information source to get in the door?
Yeah, at the beginning, it was more that. It was more of an information source, and just us having conversations about football itself, right? Because obviously, I didn't have a team at that point, so I was always really rooting for them, and I had a little, we had a small investment in the team and stuff, so always rooted for them and just rooted for them because they were good to me and stuff. So we would talk during the course of the year about what was going on, and I went over a couple of times to see other clubs, so we got together and always talk to them and stuff. So it kind of built like a little bit of a friendship in that respect, and a little bit of a good rapport. And we'd leave each other, messages, and all of a sudden now it became friendly. And we're like, all right, we're like, we're bullshitting a little bit. I gave him a little bit of English terms. He gave me a couple of uh, Brit terms, and we kept going back and forth on stuff. So that's kind of how it mostly started, was just him being able to give us some information and some insight on stuff, and then us talking about it. And he mentioned it a couple times. He's like, hey, listen, we could always talk about doing something here. I'd love to have, I'm looking for for somebody to come in with me now at this point. Maya got to do, he wants to spend a little more time on the pitch and coaching. It's a lot of roles he has. So now he's like, all right, I can, we can get a little investment in the club and also take a few things off my plate. I'm ready for that. And I thought at that point it was, that'd be so cool. But at the same time, I was like, I want my own team, kind of thing. And then I was like, holy shit, I don't want my own team. You guys can have it. I want to be a part of something is way better.
So, kind of a two-part question from me. You mentioned you were looking at teams originally in Scotland and all over England, maybe other places. What attracted you to a sixth division team in England? Number one, besides just the people that were there, right? And then the second part is, how has the reaction been from the locals there, the fan base, to have an American owner that's so heavily invested?
Yeah, interesting, right? So the first question was, I looked at a couple of different ones. I thought the English pyramid to me was, and no slight to the other places, but the English pyramid to me was the coolest one of all and the most, and the one with the most fandom. The sixth tier of soccer, and they're still getting a couple thousand people in there. Sixth tier of anywhere else was like 100 people. For the most part, the affordability has to be factored into it. It's tough. You want to you start getting into professional football, the first four tiers. Obviously, the first one is ridiculous, but even the fourth tier, you've got some heavy valuations there. So for me to have a significant ownership, this was the right tier. It was right in that sixth tier. Maybe if you got a really good bargain on a fifth tier team or something like that, but it was going to be sixth tier, and we were even looking seventh in a couple of places because then there's some value that maybe you could bully your way up a little bit because you got something that's a little bit cheaper, a little bit smaller budget, and maybe I can throw some money in, up that budget, and bully my way up a little bit. Was another
having been to a seventh division
process.
match, I can actually tell you people still do go. I went to, I think there was 2,500 people at the match I went to. That was
division, so
yeah.
One of the teams that I was talking to, man, they were getting relegated from the sixth to the seventh tier, and I was like, I'm telling you what, man, there's a lot of money flowing into the seventh tier soccer. There's some heavy hitters. I talked to a couple of these people, and I'm like, dude, their net worth, it's a lot of money. These guys are going to pour money in. There was one guy who sold his company for like $200 million, and he's coming into the seventh tier. I'm like, you got to get ready because that's what he wanted to do, kind of buy into the seventh tier and then move up. So you saw a lot of people that there's a lot of investment in there. So the sixth tier was more because that was the sweet spot where you could. There was definitely some movement with some teams, some people that wanted to go because they've been there forever. Some teams maybe that needed new blood and new thoughts and that kind of stuff. And so that was kind of the sweet spot there. And then Dorking was just a great story on it. As far as the American ownership, so far, everybody's been very positive. I've been very good in that way. I think we have been, me and Debbie, and just trying to say, listen, we're not trying to change anything. We're not trying to make this an American team. We're not trying to Americanize the thing or change what you're doing. What they're doing is so.
I don't know how to feel about a Messi jersey for Miami at a Dorking match.
Well,
but did you see Ronaldo Al Nassr?
I said two Dorking kids to my nephews up in Dallas who have never been to a Frisco game, and so I think it's more interesting that they are more likely to wear Dorking kits than the club that's 25 minutes away from them.
Yeah, it's just a good idea. I need to pick up a Dorking kit, honestly, just for going around to random matches and wearing.
I mean, they're fairly cheap.
Yeah, they're not expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure we can get to a healthy discount if we need to.
Oh, that's fine. I can get one at some point. So.
All right. Well, do you guys want to talk some World Cup nonsense right now?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Flo Balogun, red card overturn. Thought it was a poor use of VAR on the call. Overturning it is fucking ridiculous. Overturning it because Donald Trump called you is even more ridiculous. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, what that did more than anything else was bring the Belgium team together to make them play their most focused game and everything else there. And the mentality, one of the things that we had been praising Poch for was how could he build the mentality of a team that could actually feel confident. And that looked like the most jittered, broken performance possible. I mean, those guys are not as bad as they were on Monday night, but that was a perfect storm.
Yeah, you could tell it threw off the vibes of the U.S. team. Like they opened out that match playing nervous and scared. And as soon as they went down a goal, you could tell that, like, mentality wise, like, that was going to be tough. That was going to be tough for them to really stay in the game, especially when they did score and then, like, 71 seconds later, Belgium scored again. And it had those vibes from the Netherlands last World Cup around, where the Netherlands just kind of toyed at the U.S. Like, they could have scored an infinite number of goals had they really tried, because they were a Dutch 4-3-3 team playing against a coach who was trying to play a Dutch 4-3-3 against them. And they really just were trying to conserve energy more than anything else, trying to
Don't know what
they'd
happened.
be fine in the next round, where they went to Argentina.
Oh,
Welcome back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Sorry,
I don't know. Yeah, just completely like it was like a gone, internet gone kind of thing. Usually have a good connection
Keep
here.
us out of the football league. Ellen.
So we lost you right as you got into the response about having an American ownership.
Yeah, about the American stuff. Obviously, listen, it's funny. I do read the comments sometimes when we first announced. I was curious to see what kind of the reaction was going to be to people. Like, I don't read the comments. I wanted to, and definitely a couple Ted Lasso references, of course. So I'm looking forward to letting them know that I do know that there's that there is draws in soccer, and that there is more than that there's only two halves, not four quarters, but like Ted Lasso. So I did get a couple of those references, but for the most part, everybody's been very everybody's been very receptive though with it, and like I said, we were very on the comments and stuff. We were very we definitely let everybody know we're not there to change things, or they got their traditions. We saw there's a team in our division that just changed their logo. Forget it. Whoa. I mean, that you could serve 20 years for that. It seems like with the reaction they got. So people are very into the tradition and stuff like that. So we got to respect that. It's it's Dorking all the way, but we want to really do a Dorking USA thing, a Dorking in America thing. So I'm here most of the time. We're here most of the time, so we want to try to bring it here as much as possible and do some watch parties and stuff like that. And looking, by the way, at merch that we've sold in the U.S. and ownership shares that we sold in the U.S., the Austin, Texas area is one of the bigger areas for Dorking itself. So there's a decent amount of people over there. So I definitely want to do a little something over there with that. So we'll definitely want to expand a little Dorking USA kind of thing over here and get a little fan base going over here.
The Dorking boys are on a bender. Scott himself is a platinum member. There we go. Yeah.
Yes, I like it.
Just tell them next time you're there, he disagrees and has made it into four quarters because of the World Cup this year. So if you can get Dorking fans to start with the fourth quarter like college football, then we'll be great.
Yeah.
That has been one of our favorite World Cup subplots.
No, but I mean, like you said, we talk about Dorking on here, and we have people all the time who are like, "Hey, I'm going to the UK. I can't get a ticket to an Arsenal game because they're £1,000 and you have to buy them 9 months in advance." But like, hey, what do I go see instead? Well, it's a short train ride straight out of London. So we get a few people who go out, and like, I annoy people about it all the time, but it would be nice to build that out. And I mean, we could have, you're in New Jersey outside of New York, but like multiple hubs kind of around the country.
Yeah.
So we have big like playoff, or like get into like the actual like knockout rounds of the FA Cup, like something big like that would be really fun to put together.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned about like the English pyramid, but like that is one of the fun things about the pyramid, is that you can go all the way up and down it and be there with fans and experience soccer at totally different levels. Whereas you kind of talked about the US, like we kind of don't necessarily have that as much. Like in Austin, we're kind of fortunate too, but not every area is like that.
Yeah. I mean, I know USL's trying to get that. They're going to try to do like 2, 3, and 4 tiers where they get up and down. But obviously, the MLS is like, hey, paid $500,000 to get this franchise. I'm not getting relegated, so they won't be a part of it. But at least second, third, and fourth tier. That's one thing we're talking about too, is doing a little exhibition here next year. If we could find a way to do that, that would be cool. Get Dorking over here, and we can do. Listen, I don't think they're playing the Red Bulls, but they can play like the Cosmos, which is came to return now. They're a USL, I think, second or third tier team. We get a couple of lower second or third tier teams, play a little exhibition and get them a little notoriety. But yeah, I definitely want to do something here, and I got Claude working a little overtime on some ideas as well that I'll throw at it. So little Dorking America, Dorking USA merch that we're doing, but the same thing, respectful to its Dorking, but with a little USA twist to it. I mean, their colors are made for us, so we're kind of doing some stuff that way and trying to get it promoted here a little bit and try to be, because I think non-league's going to get bigger and bigger, and I think if we could be at the forefront of that'll be if we could be that non-league that non Big Six team that everybody wants to be a part of.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and it's like trying to tap into whether it's the Cosmos or like what you've seen up with like Portland Hearts of Pine or Vermont Green and USL2.
Yeah,
Like trying to figure
yeah,
out teams that have figured out how do you establish a, like I was watching the US Belgium game and someone walked in there with a Portland Hearts of Pine jersey in Wrigleyville in Chicago. I mean, it's a
yeah,
beautiful kit, but like you get to a point of you start building up a brand identity that 5 years ago it would have been unthinkable for someone in another city to be walking into with a US third division kit and be like, oh yeah,
yeah,
this is a normal thing that half the people recognize. And like I
yeah,
feel like that there is really like Wrexham obviously was non-league until they obviously are now back in the league and in the championship, and heck
yeah,
came darn close to the Premier League this
yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah,
But like starting to build up that story of like how can others start to do this, and you started seeing it like with Walsall. I know that they're owned by a brewery in the Atlanta area that's now in League Two, and like you're starting to see this, but like starting to build that awareness of like, hey, like this is possible at the grassroots level, and that you already have a decent U.S. reach. Having a few friendlies with clubs that have built that grassroots supporters that are also playing throughout the summer. I mean, MLS is not playing in the summer anymore, so like, and honestly, like it would be a mismatch at this point. But like getting
yeah.
to a proper match of a third, fourth division team, you get to an English sixth division team. I think there's a lot to be gained there on both sides.
Yeah, yeah, and just getting something so that we could get some, some exposure over here and get the fans to see it. The fans that can't make it over to England, they can actually see and feel the team and the manager and all that kind of stuff. So I think that would be good. And listen, it'd be great to get fans over too. Over to London and then take a little train ride and see a match. Fixtures come out on Friday. Uh, so the fixtures for the whole season come out on Friday. So looking forward to that, to see. And I'll be over there August 15th. There's a Saturday, Tuesday, usually the second week of the year. So I'm going to head over there for August 15th, August 18th, and then we're going to do like a fans forum thing on Monday, so that I could try to show our best of U.S. knowledge of football. I won't embarrass you guys, I swear. But so we'll do that. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, and one of the things I think that's so cool about being in the National League South right now is that like none of, I mean, I guess if you have to go far southwest, it's a little far, but like most of the away days are 60, 90
Yeah,
minutes by train or driving. Like
yeah,
you're like, okay, I'm looking at the fixture list, and it's like obviously you hope they're home for at least one of those matches, but like
yeah.
even if they're away, it's not that far away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nothing. It's funny. You can
Yeah.
travel up and down England in no time, so nothing's too far, and everything is regionalized. Like you said, the south, and then there's north. So you're all going to stick in the south. Shouldn't be too bad. And then,
So
yeah, because I'm
you
looking
guys,
forward
you
to
guys kept
a
talking.
couple of those.
So you guys got, you challenged for promotion last year, obviously, and I'm sure that's the goal again this season is
Yeah,
let's get
yeah,
promoted to the National League. What? Let's say that happens. Like, how does that change for you? What's the next step after promotion? Because you know what it takes to be a successful club here in the sixth division. Have you talked or thought forward to, well, what does it take to be a successful club in the fifth division? What extra investments do we need? Things of that nature that aren't really
yeah.
on most people's radar.
Yeah, and I think from the sixth to the fifth is obviously a move, but the fifth is a really, really competitive league. Because now obviously you got two both the North and the South feeding into it. You got some people getting relegated from League Two, and even some teams that have been in League One in there. So there's some heavy budgets. So I think financially, you got to be ready for it. You got to know that you got to up the budget a little bit because you're going to have to get some other players as well. You got to have the infrastructure as well because there's certain things as you prepare to get to the EFL. There's some things that number one, getting the pitch over the grass. So it's got to be grass. So you got to make sure that you're prepared for when that comes. You got the budget to flip that over to grass, but you don't want to do it too soon because when you have a non-grass pitch, you're monetizing that because you're holding events on it. You can practice on it. You can do everything on it. So you also that's kind of where the planning is. You got to know, hey, are we ready to get promoted? 1 year right after we get promoted? Usually not. Usually want to settle in to the National League and then make that run. So you don't go all for it, and then now you're stuck in there, and you got all these investments that you got to make. So it takes some financial discipline too. That's one thing that I saw in looking at these things. Listen, if you got that Wrexham money, then discipline doesn't matter because more money can overcome bad money, not bad money, or just a lot of money, that you spend. So here, though, there's not an endless supply, and TikTok probably won't be sponsoring us tomorrow. So we got to have a little more financial discipline. But it comes in trying to get more, more revenue sources, things like that, and preparing from a financial perspective because it's going to cost you a little bit more money when you get into the National League. Definitely on budget and stuff. But you also hope that you bring in more fans, right? As you one more tier up, hopefully you got more fans in. You want to make sure you got the infrastructure to house those fans too. So that's kind of the prepping on it. But we're hopeful. We've been knocking on the door for a couple of years.
Kind of an interesting follow up for me too, because obviously over in England the sport's so tribal, right? I liken it to college football here, where you grow up with your schools, and that's your team for life. Unless you happen to go to a different school, and then your parents ostracize you for doing so. But how hard is it to gain new fans when families for generations have been supporting one team or another?
Yeah. I think it starts with the kids, and then the kids getting the parents in is one way. But geographically, you're not going to do it, right? Like you can pull more fans in. I think for everybody wants to follow a winner. So when you're winning, when you're getting a little more excitement, you'll probably pull some more fans. But you're going to be pulling them from the area. It's hard in that kind of thing. Like you liken it to college, the same thing. Yeah, it's going to be tough to get somebody from Woking to come to Dorking and be a Dorking fan. Well, no, you're a Woking fan because you're from Woking. You're not gonna. Then he said you'd be ostracized till holidays are over. So I think it's that. That's why I think also the American fan base, that one's wide open. There's no allegiance to any team because none of us are from there. So it's just as easy for us to root for Dorking as it is for Wrexham or for anybody else. So I think if winning always brings fans. And that's first and foremost, and then and a reason to be a fan. We want to give them insight. Like one of the things that we're going to do with these with the watch party. We're going to hold a couple of these watch parties in the U.S. And I was talking to Mark. I'm like, everybody loves when the players are mic'd up. Everybody loves when the coach is mic'd up because you get kind of an insight that you don't get normally. I'm like, so what'll be great here is when we do watch parties, and I could FaceTime or WhatsApp video you at halftime, and everybody in the bar can see what's going on. And then everybody at the end of the match, when we win, we can get, FaceTime with you and talking to the fans and taking their questions or seeing our excitement or stuff. That makes everybody feel a little part of it, which you're not going to get with, any of these major clubs for the most part. So if we can get a little bit of that engagement and stuff and make it like our team, then I think it's going to be, then I think we can definitely win some fans over. Give them that inside track.
No, that makes sense. I'm also aligned with that inside track. I think one of the I'm curious, stepping into this co-owner role, like how involved are you actually in the sporting side of the club in like player acquisition? Like how much of this is your decision? Is it just a financial decision? Like scouts are bringing you here, the guys that we're looking for. Like how involved are you in the day to day of that world now?
So in the data, like in all honesty, player signings and player evaluation and things like that, Mark and his staff are definitely more on that. I'm not going to have a lot of, especially this early on, I won't have a lot of say in that. And I teased them when we were first talking and stuff. I said, listen, don't worry. I will not be texting you at 3 a.m. on a new corner kick that I just drew up. I said, even if I take this team all the way on Football Manager, I will not be telling you how to coach it. So I said, don't worry about that stuff. But yeah, because the guy's great at what he does. They have a plan. They know it. So I kind of stick away from that. I'll be more on the fan base of stuff, some of the ideas to get more involvement, more fans involved, commercial wise, bringing some sponsors in, those kinds of things. I'll have a little more insight on, and then Debbie's going to help a lot on the merch side of things, and even over there, just certain things that can definitely that we can make it more appealing. We've got a new training ground over there that we're going to do some stuff with. So things like that we'll get involved in, but it'll be more on those things. Debbie's had a number of great ideas on some stuff, which is very interesting to get a woman's perspective who isn't a complete sports fan, but still has, like, even from a marketing and a merch and getting some women involved in the sport. It's another thing too, is we can try to probably get a few more women involved. And I don't know if every guy wants that, but but some of the moms and stuff with the kids getting over to the stadium too.
No, I mean, that's definitely a good push, especially if you're trying to differentiate yourself from, a bunch of, old guys in the sixth tier of English football is not exactly the most progressive place in the world. So yeah, I mean, I told my wife after you and I talked about, oh yeah, they're actually going to have like women's input on merch and stuff, and she was like, holy shit, you're going to be like the only club, south of the top six in England who are actually doing anything like that.
Yeah, because it's funny. My wife tried a couple of things on.
If you're an natural,
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife tried some of the stuff on. She goes, "This is not flattering. Nobody's buying this stuff." So that'll be good from that perspective, and bringing in more fans. And like you said, and it's funny you said that about the sixth tier football. There was a couple of clubs we went to, and man, we're like, wow, these stands the average age needs to definitely come down quickly here, because we're not going to have any fans in about 10 years. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, when I was at I'm gonna let Seth talk here in a second, but when I was at Dorking for the game, there was a dude who had to be in his like 70s or 80s in front of me, and he was just like, "Oh, okay, Americans," and a little wary of me. And then like I shot my mouth off at the ref like 10 minutes into the game, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I like this guy." All right, fair enough.
It took you 10 minutes.
What'd you say?
It took you 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, it took me 10 minutes to craft an insult about his haircut.
Oh.
And it was deserved. And you guys probably heard me. But Seth, what were you gonna say? Oh, okay. I guess we're moving past Seth's question.
Yeah, no, I'm good at this point. No, I think it's just like what you're trying to do here is like the natural way. Obviously, I love what you're trying to do here in the U.S. as well. But like the easiest way to add to your fan base is adding girls, women, adding this. Is like, okay, you have a natural geographic catchment. Like one of the things, like it's very interesting. Brad and I spent. We went over around the festive period a little over a year and a half ago now, and went from matches from the Premier League down to the seventh tier. And in if you go to, we went to a West Ham match, you went to an Arsenal match, like you go to those matches and it's probably 60-40 men, women. And once you get down below the championship, like 90-10, it is just like the amount of difference, like only other male heavy events I've ever been to in sports that were 90-10 were like boxing fights. And like that obviously has its own issue, but like you don't want to be like, and like I sort of get it, like especially for a lot of older English guys, like, okay, this is a way to get away from their wives for 2.5-3 hours. I get that that's part of the but like at a certain point, like you do actually want, if you can create, how can you keep up the atmosphere while making it family friendly? I don't think anyone's really unlocked that.
Yeah, I think actually the only place I found that in the lower divisions that we saw over there, Seth, was Dulwich Hamlet did a very good job of that. Frank, I don't know if you've got a chance to get over there for a game, but they were really good, very family friendly, really. That was probably, if you talk about percentage wise for folks there, the closest to a 50-50 split male to female percentage I saw at the game. And really, everybody hang out in the pubs before into the match after. It was great.
Yeah, that's the thing there too. Is one of the things that I think Americans will bring to English sport is everything here is an event, right? Like, so we're like I was telling them, I said, when I go to a football game, I'm looking forward to the football game, but I got to be honest with you, I'm looking forward to getting there at 10 a.m. and tailgating and throwing the football around, playing a little cornhole, drinking, smoking a cigar, bullshitting, doing a 3 hour pregame for a 3 hour game because we know everything that this guy should be doing or coaching or whatever. That's part of the fun. So it's not just showing up a game, watching the game, and then getting out of there immediately. So I think that we can bring is we're so used to it, and it's just ingrained in what we do. It's more festive. It's more of an event than it is just another match. So I think we'll bring that, and that will bring women too, because women they're not as into the sport. I don't want to just speak for them, but you know what I mean. They're not as into the sport sometimes as men are. So I think if it becomes a little bit more of an event or a little bit more fun, or my wife always wants to do the tailgate, like that's what she looks forward to. And listen, I think English football is an easier sport to watch sometimes because there's not 47 time. I mean, you watch the NBA finals. I mean, I tell my wife, "Oh, there's 2 minutes left." She's like, "That's not 2 minutes. That's half hour." So, where football 2 minutes is 2 minutes and a little bit of injury time, and that's it. Although that can get a little controversial when you put 11 minutes up on the clock for injury time, but it happens.
To switch topics a little bit, you mentioned tailgating in American football, so I'm curious what your other fandoms are and kind of how you interact with those teams versus how you think like English fans interact with their soccer teams.
Yeah, so like for me, and that's why I also wanted to pick when I was looking at this. I'm like, you know what, I want to pick a winning team because unfortunately my father made us Mets and Jets fans. So I've had a
Oh, so
long.
sorry.
Yes. So, it's funny. He's a great man, but when he passed away a couple years back and me and my brother were talking, I was like, the eulogy, he does not escape. This man will not escape the Mets and Jets suffering that we've had to pass. So it's got to be mentioned here. We got to throw him under the bus a little bit. So, from that perspective, it's good to back a winner now that I can control a little bit, have a little control over instead of watching Woody Johnson take my team down the tubes every year. And the Mets just spend a bunch of money and not get there. So I think there's definitely fandom here. I think there it's tough to compare. You can't compare right Mets to a Dorking because there's two different levels of team. I think where they do an amazing job is to be that level of a club, let's say, where you're a 6 tier team and you still have these people that are there and are fans of it, love it. 20 years later, they're still coming to it and are dedicated to it. We don't have that here, and it's there's no lower tiers of these kinds of sports here. But listen, I think sports passion here is good too. I mean, for NFL and the hockey, some of the hockey fans. Sometimes you get better fans in hockey and things like that than you do in NFL. More dedicated fans. And so I remember going to Devils
Oh
games
yeah,
with my
we're
buddy when there was like 300 people in the stands, and then all of a sudden we got Martin Brodeur, and we went on a run, and that was fun. So no, there's some good stuff.
yeah, we're big hockey fans here, and I kind of grew up on kind of those Devils teams. Like I'm a Blues fan, but I remember Brodeur, and you have some other guys in there that were just like killing people, and it was a lot of fun.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
off sidetrack.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple. It was funny. It was definitely when you still had goons. Yeah.
I miss the era of games, but
Peluso, yeah, Mike
it's still fun.
Peluso, Claude Lemieux. There's a couple of them that were some rough dudes on that team.
Yeah,
Obviously,
you
Scott
guys had Scotty
Stevens.
Stevens for a while.
Scott Stevens,
Yep.
yeah, that shot on Eric Lindros. Oof.
Yeah, a goon who could score Eric Lindros, but
Yeah.
still a goon at heart.
Yeah, can't believe though when you see those
Yeah,
those clips and they don't wear helmets. Crazy.
yeah. I actually got to see live a couple times the last NHL player who was allowed to play without a helmet. His name's Craig McTavish. He was not very good,
Yep.
but he stuck around for a while.
Yeah.
Frank, can we interest you in dragging you down to SEC country for a tailgate one day?
Oh man, yeah, hell yeah. That'd be some fun stuff for sure. I've been a buddy of mine's been trying to get me. He went to Florida, and he's been trying to get me to a Florida Georgia, Florida Alabama game for a little bit, and we haven't had
There's
haven't
better
had
experiences in Florida.
that. What schools are we talking here for you guys?
Okay, so I went to Auburn.
All right.
So as as I say, the only true SEC grad here, because Devin went to Mizzou and Scott got Texas stuff, but that they ain't SEC schools. I'm sorry, not a little more, and they know my stance on this.
We technically all went to SEC schools. We just weren't in the. They just weren't in the SEC when we went there.
Hey, speak
Right.
for yourself. Mizzou and just joined the SEC.
As an original SEC founding school, I would tell you, if you're gonna go to one SEC tailgate, just anywhere, the answer is an LSU night game.
Okay. Yeah.
In Baton Rouge, it is the best. The food is amazing. You'll have more food, more free drink than you can shake a stick at. You were talking about tailgating for the NFL. Oh, I like to get there 3 hours early. Mm-mm. Tailgating starts on Thursday, man, for a Saturday game.
It's
that's
wild.
how it works down there. And I can tell you, when I went to school, we had a rule on campus that you couldn't park your RV on campus until Wednesday, so that you didn't block too many kids from going to class. And that was a real thing. So I would tell you, LSU night game. Ole Miss is always a fun one. Auburn's pretty good, I think, but we're not as rowdy. It's a rowdy in the stadium crowd, but not as rowdy pregame as I think in LSU.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I always tell people, if you're going to go to one SEC game, find a big night game at LSU. It is
a big night game LSU, and with Lane Kiffin in there, it should get interesting for that school as well.
It's not even about Lane. It's just more their fans are absolutely insane in the best ways possible.
Oh, good. Yeah, but I was thinking more they'll get back to a few winning ways. Funny, because my cousin, very close cousin, she's War Eagle everything. So it's it's funny. She went to Auburn, and her son went to Auburn, and they're all about it, man. It's funny.
Yeah,
it's,
if you've got family, I would tell you, go with the family down to Auburn. They'll show you the right way, and you'll have a great time. I promise you. You'll get fed.
Yeah.
You'll have drinks handed to you. You'll see a great atmosphere.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And it's funny because growing up here. Oh no, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying growing up here in the Northeast.
I was just saying it's loud. It's just.
That's great. Yeah. I gotta get on something like that. Growing up in the Northeast, college football just wasn't as big, right? Because who do we have out here? We don't really have any schools that were football schools, right? Rutgers is the state university here in New Jersey, but their football was okay for a little bit, but not really a traditional school. Penn State's not close enough, kind of thing. So it really wasn't a thing. And then I remember, as we get older and we're seeing things, and somebody went to a Michigan game, and they're like, dude, there's only 100,000 seats in the stadium, but there was 300,000 people in the parking lot. Because I don't understand the math. And it's like, yeah, because people are there just for that. So you start understanding just the fever of it. That's one sport that's doesn't get. We talk about fandom, we talk about NFL and this and that, but college football is. I mean, I think that's the most fandom we got of any of the sports.
A lot of us have argued, that are huge college football people and college sports in general, that it's the closest corollary to English soccer as far as fandom goes, as far as the tribalism that's there, right. the real rivalries. Okay, Chicago and Green Bay, you don't like each other on the field, that's fine. I can tell you stories back home in Alabama of Auburn and Alabama fans literally murdering each other because of a football game. Like, that's happened. It's verifiable in the news. You don't have people in pro cities poisoning trees and things like that.
Yes, that's a great story.
The amount of police that will be needed in Ole Miss this year in Oxford, Mississippi, for Ole Miss versus LSU for that game, it will rival any derby match in England this year for police needed.
It's like a pre-planned riot.
Well, actually, no, but you know what? They actually scheduled the biggest derby in England, and that the same weekend. We have West Ham Millwall and LSU Ole Miss are the same Saturday, and thankfully no police officer will have to work both of those.
Yeah, that'll be nice. But what we want to do is we want to get this lovely tailgate culture, and then we're going to need your help, Frank. We're going to have to talk Mark into letting like Brad and Scott and Seth and I come over and just like barbecue for like 100 people. And
Yeah.
Okay.
parking, well, there's not really a parking lot like outside, like kind of right outside that little curtain area near the park, and just show them, hey, this could be really fun. Like, the pubs won't like it, but they can deal with it for one game.
Yeah. Yeah, and hey, listen, we can have them kind of bring the beer, or sponsor the beer, or whatever. We'll work it. We can work it. Everything's workable. But bringing a tailgate over there,
Yeah.
they'd love it. So we were talking about doing a little kind of American night in the stadium. I showed them like a little bit of a Dorking USA kind of jerseys, and they could wear them for one match, and something like that, just to give us a little shout out and give us a little thing. I mean, it's for us to be cheering from over here, I think it's a big deal for them. So that I think that would be fun. Kind of do a little American theme night there. They'd love it. That's what we did when they came over here. They came over to my house, to our house, and we did a little. My wife came up with an idea, and we did a little trying to do some American fare and stuff like that. So it was fun.
Good.
I like it.
Do you guys have any substantive questions for Frank, or do we want to push on and do some World Cup stuff?
No, this has been a really interesting conversation, Frank. It's enlightening to hear from the ownership side. It's not something we hear about, especially when you talk about sixth division soccer and the other side of the world. Like,
Yeah.
we all watch English soccer. I mean, everybody here has a team over there that they've rooted for a while. I picked up one on our trip with Seth that I mentioned earlier. I'm a QPR fan, but we all also have now kind of adopted Dorking on this podcast. Like we literally text each other and try to find streams to be able to watch, which has been a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll make sure everybody's got that the streams and keep you guys up to date on certain things and stuff like that for sure. We'll share some contact info, and that's what we want to do. We want to grow the fan base and make it fun, right? That's what we do. We can chat about stuff. We get any insights I can grab and share. That's awesome.
Yep. And Scott and I are hoping to make it over in October, November-ish. We'll see when the fixtures come out on Friday and go from there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
all right.
I have a pre-planned pub crawl ready for you guys if you want to do the whole tour of the town from when I was there.
Yeah, let me know.
Good time. Yeah, Frank. Who's
let me know. It's an easy flight from Newark for me.
All right. So, Frank, the question now for you is, who's going to win the World Cup?
So, a little bit of my heritage is Spaniard, so I am gonna root for them a little bit in England. England is just it's tough to say England's gonna do it. Just what a place is loaded with all stars, but I don't know if they can. I mean, that was a great win they had the other night, but I don't know if they can do it. Argentina, I will not embellish that whole "it's fixed" conversation, but that was some rough calls. That was some rough calls in that match. But you just can't give up 3 goals in 15 minutes. Who's gonna win it? Wow, I think France has an amazing team, man. That's gonna be a tough team to beat. Those guys. If I had a gun to my head and I had to bet on somebody, it'd be France. Who I want would be Spain or England.
All right, good answers, good analysis. Are you disappointed in the U.S. and the way they went out?
I mean, listen, they did pretty good to get there. It was disappointing the way they played. They definitely threw up a turd on that 16 match there. The goalie one, that was tough to watch. Just kick it. Don't know what he was thinking out there. So that was tough the defense was tough. They just came out really flat. And I think these guys were a little motivated. I don't know if the overturn of the red card, that definitely, I'm sure, motivated some people, for sure. So they came out on fire. But when they played they were on point, man, on that match, and we just were not. It was flat. And Pulisic just didn't have it. I don't know if it's past his time, but I didn't think he showed up too well.
No, I think you look at him, he'll be in almost 32 for the next World Cup. And, attackers, they tend to lose speed and tend to lose efficacy a little quicker than the rest of the field. So I think he's probably toast at the international level. I hope he still has a a good career, but
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to be loading the team up and building around him anymore.
yeah,
Well,
yep.
and you saw that
So
even like at the end of his Milan season, like he didn't have a good second half of the year and looked kind of done physically. And like I know that people are always like, "Oh, what's the World Cup? It's different," but the form that players have going into the tournament does matter. And I think we saw that from Pulisic, who just kind of never had it.
yeah, the goalie play in this World Cup though has been like, holy man, there's been some saves that are like off the charts.
Yeah, I think we're all big Vozinha fans now for Cabo Verde.
Yeah, that I think if any,
Yeah.
there's always somebody that comes out a star or somebody that really comes out, and this guy's one guy that's going to come out of this World Cup way ahead of where he was when before the World Cup started.
Hey, I mean, he doesn't have a club. Dorking could make a move for him. I mean, just get a few more social media followers.
You know what? We have a keeper, but I might even bench Harrison Folks for him.
He was amazing, man. He was amazing. That's funny. I would text with Mark a lot during the World Cup too. It's always good to get a take from somebody who's definitely in it. So a couple times they'd be like, "Mate, I gotta be cut tomorrow if he did that on our club or whatever." Some of these guys doing the dance before they kick a penalty kick and then kicking it 50 feet over the net drives him nuts. He's like, "No dancing. Pick a spot and fucking hit it."
Yeah, thank you. Okay, you just got so much credibility with everybody who listens to the show because we go on and on and on about like, don't do the dumb like stutter step, skippity hoppity bullshit like roll
Oh.
in penalty. Just go up there and fucking whack it in the corner.
Yeah, like Kane. I give it to Harry Kane. He didn't give a shit. Just went up there, hit the spot,
Yeah.
done. You're not. If I hit that spot, you're not saving it. Just hit it then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the guy. This man can take a fucking penalty.
Yeah. That's going to be a good match. Holland, England.
Yeah, apparently it's now breaking that Norway might be coming down with some illnesses. By the way, the whole team.
Some
Really?
related illnesses, or
I mean, yeah. I'm sorry. Based
Yeah,
on their previous opponents, that's not the team that I would have expected to have stomach issues into the next match. Like
Well,
that,
didn't they
that
shoot
was
their
that
own
was a story
food
I was
originally?
expecting England to have.
No, but I also think that Norway would be really smart to put out stories that they're having issues when they're not
Yeah.
really having issues and playing mind games in England.
I mean, this is the coach who we praised for not putting out a full team against France just so nobody could see what his team looked like against a real team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put anything past him. Sneaky Norwegians. Plus, like Holland's a robot. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have a stomach.
No, made in a lab,
All right.
definitely.
Yeah. Frank, what's been your favorite moment of the World Cup so far? And I mean, you can pick a couple or, pick a storyline or anything, just kind of getting a read on what you've been enjoying.
The Cabo Verde Argentina game was phenomenal. Watching that go back and forth, and holy crap, man, that was just so exciting, so much fun. That was probably the highlight of it. A couple of those matches, even England Mexico, I thought was a fun match to watch. After that, I mean, 40 minutes of trying to. I mean, part of it kind of stunk because it's more England trying to just get rid of the ball for 25 minutes, but it was a lot of excitement in that one. A lot of momentum swinging. Actually, a bunch of these matches that have really had some fun watching. Cabo Verde obviously was just great with Argentina. Thought they had him, man. That was amazing. Argentina's escaped a couple times.
I was gonna say that's kind of my, is Argentina just like holding it in reserve, or are they actually in trouble these days? I don't really know, and we'll find out down the road. But I mean, maybe not against Switzerland, because Argentina has this cakewalk to the semifinals. But
yeah. I don't.
Seth was going to tell us not to undermine or underestimate Switzerland, even though they're filthy neutrals. Futurama joke for those of you who have no idea.
Well, it's also a thing of like, everybody looks like they can beat Argentina until it comes to actually beating Argentina. And ultimately, like, when you have the best player in the world, who's still the best player in the world, like, you have an advantage over everybody else. You just do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, that's why I think a match between them and Norway would be interesting, because that would actually be the one time that, like, they would have a comparable star to their guy.
That would be
Also,
fun.
Holland against the Sandro Martinez would be objectively hilarious to get a photo of.
Is he like a full foot taller than the Butcher? It's
Yeah,
close.
almost. I think it's
Yeah.
like 10 inches.
Yeah.
Of his listed height, and obviously Lisandro Martinez is probably not actually that tall, but we'll find out.
Being that it's the whole America 250 thing, aren't we just on our way to proxy war England France, just like we were 250 years ago?
Maybe. I would
There you
recommend
go.
Argentina at this point.
I mean, they didn't realize they were in the 100 Years' War until the 100 Years' War was over.
Which didn't take 100 years. It's 117 years. None of the years wars named are named correctly. It bothers them.
One funny tidbit: I did bring Mark and all the and a bunch of amateurs and those guys when we went out to a bar. We went to a bar in Morristown, New Jersey, here called 1776. I didn't thought the irony wasn't lost in there, but they're over it. Everyone's fine. We're all friends. But it was right when George Washington made his crossing. So funny.
Yeah. I mean, we'll kill you in your sleep on Christmas. It's something we do. Just don't cross us. It's okay. Just be nice.
Yeah.
We'll play nice back.
Yeah.
It is fun to have some banter with the English folks about the U.S. isn't a real country, the colonies, blah blah. It's like, okay, guys, if you want to have this conversation, we can, but I don't think you really want to. Brad, do you want to regale us with your lovely soccer versus football anecdote about when you schooled those folks?
Yes. So, Frank, while we were over there for the matches a few years ago, Seth and I also decided to go see the darts, which I'm assuming you're aware of the darts.
Yep.
The whole phenomenon. Please feel free to use this the next time somebody over there says, do you call it soccer or football? Because the answer is soccer over here, of course. And a somewhat inebriated young English gentleman said, as we're walking into the darts, because we told him we were there to watch a bunch of matches, he said, you call it football or soccer? I'm like, well, soccer, of course. He goes, no, mate, it's football. It's football. No, I'm like, well, I'll stop calling it soccer when you guys stop calling it soccer. To the point where this gentleman goes, well, we don't call it soccer. We call it football. I'm like, what's that television show every Saturday on Sky Sports called? And his friend looked at him and goes, oh, you mean Soccer Saturday? To which the guy who was initially challenged me falls on his knees and does a dramatic no! And Seth can verify every word of this.
Seth is not
Cultural
a
victory.
Anytime that you get questioned on if it's soccer or football, just ask them why they have a television show on national TV every week that's called Soccer Saturday. That's all.
Soccer Saturday, yeah. There you go.
Conversation over. Argument won.
I'm keeping that one in my back pocket.
I'm not the one putting it on national TV.
Yeah. I mean, you guys want to hit on anything else, or should we get out of here and get this out to the nice people?
Well, I think we should probably talk about our Austin FC moves, but I don't know if Frank needs to hang around for that one. So,
I mean, Frank's up to you. You want to talk some Austin FC and just observe the banter for now?
Yeah. I'll stick out and observe a little bit. And before you guys get into that, I appreciate you guys having me on. Great group of dudes. So looking forward to continuing our conversations and listen. We welcome some conversations on football, SEC football, soccer football, Dorking, all things, everything. So appreciate it. I think I've made 4 friends here, so that's always good.
Yeah, you got any
thanks for coming on, and seriously,
us.
we look forward to following you guys all year long. So
Yeah.
You get really upset about my beloved Brady Cook playing for the Jets again. We're happy to have you on to discuss it. Seth, you have the figures for us. Danny Pereira, Austin FC fan favorite, OG squad member. Traded to Montreal for a bunch of GAM. I think the return's nice, but maybe not what we were hoping for. I think all of us kind of hoped he was getting a Europe move, but Canada's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to worry about his immigration status on a day-to-day basis, which is probably a nice thing for him at this point. $2.1 million in GAM. It's $1.4 million in GAM for this year. Be thankful, Frank, that you do not have general allocation money in the National League South, because MLS is just stupid with this. Like, you can spend what you want, you can't, but so you don't get paid in real money. You get paid, but you're getting paid in budget money, which in some ways is almost like more valuable than real money because it's a trade for, and this is the second largest trade in MLS history for general allocation money. Miami's trade of Leo Campana to the New England Revolution was the largest. So it's broken up into 1.4 million for this year. So that does give us some money for potentially a part of a signing to replace him, and then 700,000 in GAM for next year, and then there's another 250,000 in GAM that is tied to incentives if he does well in Montreal. It's a sizable haul. I mean, there had been rumors that Coventry City was trying to sign him for $4 to $5 million in the past. I don't think any of those were real. Obviously, we would have like in years past we've talked about like we saw his peak potentially as, I mean, Danny is still in his 20s. We could see like maybe he can move to La Liga as a six, like not for like a Real Madrid or Barcelona, but for like a mid-table team in La Liga. But I think at this point, if you're making this move in your career, you're effectively saying you're going to be a career MLS player. But like if you're a career MLS player near the top of the TAM list and you're going to be making $1 million plus a year, that's not a bad life.
No, he's doing pretty well for himself, especially because we weren't, even expecting to take him number one overall. People thought he would slide in the draft. Everybody who was expected to be taken ahead of him, I think, is very out of the league at this point.
So I have the contrarian take on this. I actually think we won the trade. That's a lot more GAM than I would have ever expected for Danny. I think Danny's a good player, an above average player. We've said for a while that he's probably, like Seth just said, he's probably an MLS lifer on this podcast. We've said that. And he's 25. And this fan base kept saying, oh, he's so young, he's got time to develop. He kind of who he is at this point, being 25 years old. To get that much return for him was eye-opening to me. And I was shocked. I can't believe we got that. When you throw out like Leo Campana he's the only guy that's gotten more for GAM and return in this league. Well, Campana's got a ton of goals scored in this league. Danny's not a goal scorer. Clearly, he's a 6, 4 to 8, depending on where you want to play him, but tends to be a little better at 6. He's had some injury issues. He's got disciplinary issues when it comes to yellow cards consistently, which have cost him chances and accumulated into red cards throughout the years, which has cost him matches. He's a good kid. He's a good player. I appreciate everything he's done for the club. I think this is the smart move, specifically because we've got Irvin Torres sitting on the wing, waiting in the wings. We've got Jorge Alistue waiting in the wings, playing very similar positions. And if you're going to make a move to youth, now is the time, because we've talked about it here. We got 19-ish games to go this year, plus Leagues Cup. If you're going to play young guys, punt, see what you have now before Jim Curtin gets here in January. So I love everything about this move.
Going back to Brad's point about who everybody thought was going to get drafted first, I just looked up Phil Mayaka's stats. Does anyone want to guess how many MLS appearances he has?
4.
It can't be more than 10.
Seth?
How many appearances who has?
Phil Mayaka, who was expected to go first that draft?
He's had 7.
He has had the same number of MLS appearances as the entire panel together.
God damn it, I almost guessed that.
Oh, God.
He's currently playing for Athletic Club Boise.
Okay, they're actually drawing really well. That might not be a terrible place to send Dorking to a match, except that's really freaking far.
Yeah, we're not sending Mark to fucking Boise, like the town would fucking burn down.
Well, unless he gets
a lot of big Boise. I'm a very pro Boise.
Look, I mean, they could play on the blue field, right? Can we try to play on the blue field?
Yeah, only if we play on the blue field. Yeah, if we can play on the blue field, then maybe.
Yeah, okay.
No, I actually think this is a good move for Danny, because he kind of needed to get away from the expectations that the Austin FC fans have for him. That kind of Brad talked about. Like, he is a good ball progressor, and he does a lot of good defensive work, but he's never going to be somebody who fills up the stat sheet besides yellow cards, ultimately. And as much as we want him to get more involved in the attack and put up those numbers, I think at this point it's his 60s, and like he is what he is. And that's still an effective MLS player who's good for a lot of teams. But the counter of this is Austin FC doesn't really have any GAM. And if you're going to improve this roster, the way you're going to do that is you have to get rid of the players that you can generate those resources and assets for. And unfortunately, Danny's really the only one, unless we're going to sell Owen. And I don't think anybody's really ready to sell Owen yet, especially when we, just as a reminder, don't have a sporting director.
Yeah, hopefully that'll come soon. But no, I mean, I think Danny's been a great player for us. He's been a good story. Other than Choppa, he's mostly been a very excellent steward of the community, and we will always have that goal of his that hangs in the Louvre to this day. Assuming it didn't get robbed again.
If it was, do you think we'd actually find out?
No.
Okay. Yeah, and so I think it's interesting because one of the things that Jim Curtin was known for in Philadelphia was his ability of utilizing academy players and essentially being able to fill out those supplemental slots with guys who could actually play real minutes. And yes, Austin FC too has had a lot of success before, winning next World Cup with a team that was ultimately older and not really able to transition into MLS play. And I'm hoping that guys like Irvin, Elstue, maybe Micah Burton would be great, could transition to actually playing some meaningful first team minutes eventually.
I don't think we're going to see Micah there, and I mean, I watch FC too. You could plug Elstue in there. I think Irvin has some promise, but I think Micah's time as an Austin FC prospect is up, and we're probably going to see him gone as soon as the contract situation gets solved.
I think that, like I said earlier, I think this move was made to get Irvin Torres minutes here this fall to see what you have over the rest of the summer and the fall. I would be stunned if he doesn't start at least 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of there's the classic story in Moneyball of Billy Beane getting mad that Art Howe wasn't playing the team effectively or playing the team the way he wants them to, and so he starts trading all the players away so he has to. And at a certain point, for all the things we said about Roto, but bringing in somebody like Savovich who essentially takes minutes away from Irvin, that's a mistake. Just from a roster construction standpoint in MLS of spending all that GAM on him when, he hasn't really shown anything. And by, forcing the hand of having to play Irvin, I'm interested to see what he's able to show for the rest of the season.
Scott, you made the point too. We still don't have a sporting director. Do we think Jim Curtin signed off on this?
Oh, yes. I guarantee you they discussed it with him before he signed the contract.
So it sounds like there is some kind of Knights of the Round Table committee kind of a thing of people who are doing these moves with assumedly one person who's the point of contact. And I would be shocked if Jim Curtin is not sitting at that table. At least maybe not actually in the offices, but there's no way he's not on a conference call.
Yeah, I'm sure there was at least a, hey, do you need this guy when you start in, December, January, whatever.
Would you rather have this guy or 2.1 million GAM?
Yeah.
Or however much it was? Yeah.
Exactly. All right. I think we're good here. Maybe we'll have some more words on Danny and the sporting director situation when we come back. But I know we've got some time out here, and we all have hard stops. So, thanks again, Frank, for joining us. You are always welcome. We don't really talk about the Jets a lot, but if you want us to point and laugh at you, you are welcome here.
I don't blame you for not talking. Maybe some comedic skits on the Jets, but we do have 43 picks in the next first round, I think. So we're set. We should land on somebody with all those picks. That's the problem is we've had a lot of number 1 picks. So we'll do a lot more Dorking.
How's your Canadian football, Frank? How's your knowledge there?
Yeah, good.
Okay, so we're good on the Canadian football. So we're good.
Oh, Canadian football. I'm sorry. I thought you said Canadian football a little bit, not too big on the Canadian football. I know some of the teams' names.
It would also give you the chance to pick a. Well, it would give you a chance to pick a team that actually wins more than 2 games a season.
Yeah, correct. So I could get in and go, okay, the Argonauts or Saskatchewan, whoever's the main team here, who has a pedigree of winning, that's where I got to go.
I love that he named the 2 teams that we all support.
Yes.
He named Argos and Saskatchewan.
I'm an OG Sasky Rough Rider. The rest of you guys are Argos.
Hey,
Who was the guy that was there? Rocket
Toronto
Ismail, right? Was he the
for almost
Argonauts?
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
So at least I'll get a fresh start there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sports geek.
You don't have to do the Chicago Cubs. There's always next year. All right. Well, this has been fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed learning a little bit. If you want to get in touch, get some questions out to us at SFJ Podcast, at Suffering Pod. Find us on socials. We're around. And as always, on behalf of Seth, Brad, and Scott, and on this time, Frank, thanks for suffering with us. Bye.
Promise here for Austin Jarrett Stroud. It's Diego Fagundes. He has written his name into Austin folklore.
They just won't go away.
Oh, he hits the upright again. That's impossible.
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
Altidore squares it. Dempsey's missed it. Donovan has it. From hope, there is glory.